Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Chris Williams.
Welcome. Glad that you're here with us today. Again, Chris Williams here, licensed marriage and family therapist. I have JJ West with me, and JJ, you're a licensed professional counselor. Is that correct?
Actually, no. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, just like you, Chris.
Okay, yes, we're brothers in the profession. Yes, and
right.
And also our speaker and leader of the Every Man's Battle workshop, which you do just a fantastic job with, man.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
And joining us a little bit later will be licensed psychologist, Dr. Jill Hubbard. But JJ, I want to get to a special guest that we have here today to start off our show. We have a nationwide network of phenomenal counselors and coaches. But I want us to hear a little bit more from one of our coaches and what she does and the services that she provides. And so let's hear from Gwen. Gwen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. It's so good to be here today.
Yes, and it's Gwen Bernot. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. Gwen Bernot.
Gwen Bernot. Excellent. So I want to hear, Gwen, what do you do? How do you help people? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Well, I am a Christian life coach, and I'm also a Ramsey financial coach. So I help my clients by helping them navigate through some of life's decisions and help them pursue an orderly lifestyle, one that honors God. I particularly specialize and really enjoy helping people understand how their thoughts impact the particular results or outcomes that they want, to help them understand how that could their thoughts could possibly hold them back or help them move forward. So I like to refer to my coaching as mindset and money.
Oh, I love that. You know, I see that so often in the work that comes across in my office, is that there's mindsets that create these ceilings for people or these deep conflicts for people. What are some of the common barriers that you find people come up against, especially when it comes to their finances?
Oh, okay. So when it comes to the finances, I find that people pretty much become involved in a trap, and it's pretty much a trap from the culture that says to you that you can have all and you can buy now, pay later, and you fall into it, and then you don't realize you're in it until you're well into it, and you start having these feelings, and your internal clock is starting to remind you that this may not be a good thing. And then they're wanting to find their way out of this, horrible cycle that they have been pulled in. So it's the debt. And so with the Ramsey Financial Coach, it's pretty much focusing on a debt-free lifestyle.
Yes. And what does a debt-free lifestyle do for those who discover it and live from it?
Well, the debt-free lifestyle is all about freedom. This is why it fits so well with my Christian life coaching. And it really all sort of flows from the life coaching into the financial coaching, because it's all indicative of a lifestyle that God prefers for us.
Yes.
So if we choose God's way, we reap the benefits of living in freedom and not being in bondage to the world's way, or wanting to hold you back from what God really has for you.
Yes.
Right? It's choosing to honor life is what it is.
I love that. Gwen, I absolutely love that. And how can people get a hold of you? They can reach you through our network. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I'm one of the New Life, part of the New Life Coaching Network. And you can also find me on my website, justletyourstrength.com. And I'd love to speak to you about it further.
Excellent. Yes, we'll come back to you right after this. Thanks for being with us.
Some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. They're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
After 7 years, he just, in one weekend, came back a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
He said this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, August 10th. Don't wait for him to call. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We're glad that you're with us today, and we are also glad that Gwen Burnett is with us today as well. And Gwen, if you could tell us just a little bit more, if a person is out there considering getting a life coach like yourself, what are some things that are going on in their lives that would lead them to you?
Sure. If you are a person who wants to move forward in life, you may find yourself feeling stuck, not really knowing how to take that next step. A Christian life coach would be, a great asset. If you are someone who's overcoming divorce, someone who's co-parenting. I've had a client say to me, I just need someone to listen. If you're someone who just needs to share, if you need a safe space with someone who's not a part of your inner circle or your family, Christian life coaching is just ideal for that, where there's no judgment and you're free to share and then to seek God with another believer.
Yeah.
Right. So those are some relationship challenges. If you need a sounding board and you want to discuss some of your relationship challenges maybe, or it may not be a challenge, just to have someone to talk it through.
Yeah. That's really
excellent.
Yeah, that's really, really good. If you want to find out more about our coaching network, you can go under the Get Help tag at newlife.com. And again, this is a way to take that next step in your life. And I can just say, Gwen will resonate with this as me as a potential client. I found myself in cycles of debt for a long time until I started seeing that it was, as you mentioned before, a mindset and a dysfunctional relationship to money that I was living in and out of that I didn't even realize. And until I broke through that dysfunctional mindset, I couldn't really break through my cycle of getting in and out of debt. So I just want to affirm from my own personal experience that getting a coach like Gwen could be very, very helpful for you. And Gwen, thank you so much for being on today. And we wish you very, very well in your work and in your life.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem at all. So, JJ, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing better than last week. Last week I was sick on the show, and it turns out I got COVID, which was
JJ.
terrible. Yeah. So I've had COVID 2 definite times, a third maybe time, and all three times have been right after coming back from DC.
Oh wow!
Interesting.
Wow,
and
allergic to the city.
Something about DC because also about 75% of the time that we have workshops in DC, 2 days after I get back, I'm sick. So there's something there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the airport. I don't know if it's the plane. I don't know if it's the hotel.
Or
there's something there.
But I will say, all 3 times I had COVID, it was after traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's common. So see people what we go through to put on these workshops.
The sacrifices
The
made.
sacrifices we
Yes.
make
Yes.
to be part of this ministry. No, it's funny because my wife jokingly asked, "Are you sure you should go to DC anymore?" Because it's happened so frequently. But of course I'm going to go because these workshops are so powerful. They're so life transforming, and it's a joy to be a part of it.
We just need to load you up on the vitamin C.
Yeah,
before
right.
we
I mean,
go,
I take a ton of vitamins, so
Yeah.
I probably would get sick 100% of the time if I didn't. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
doing okay.
JJ, that's always something I've admired. One of the many things I've admired is that you take such good care of yourself and your health, and so, yeah, I'm sure that also helps you recover from the COVID experiences.
Yeah. Well, it's part of how I stay long term in this field.
Yeah.
We have to practice self-care.
Yeah.
And that's emotional, that's physical, certainly spiritual, relational. We have to practice self-care. Otherwise, this thing will chew us up and spit us out.
I talk about
So
it with
true.
my team often. There are the unseen occupational hazards are ever present and ever profound. So, Jill, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well.
But you mentioned the glasses experience.
Yes. I couldn't find the glasses I wanted today, and then the pair I found broke, and so
And it
here
just
I am.
kind of threw
Here I am.
things off.
Good thing I have multiple pairs, but
Yeah.
I do like to coordinate things.
Well, I always appreciate your coordination.
Thank
you
you.
bring the style of this show up tremendously, especially if I'm on. So
Color therapy.
yes, yes, I love it. Well, friends, let's get to the lines. Let's go to Libby, listening in Denver, Colorado, on the internet. Libby, we are so glad that you're with us today. Tell us what's going on with you and how can we help you?
Hi, thank you for having me on the air. My question is, I've been married for 5 years. I'm a Christian. I was born and raised in the church, old-fashioned style, and I'm married to an unbeliever. He's currently incarcerated for life, and I didn't look at the status of him being incarcerated for life. I looked at him as a human being, and, it went further where we got married. And later on down the marriage line, I discovered that he was a mama's boy, and his family have really been thorn in the flesh for me in my marriage with him. And my question is, I have talked to him about prioritizing me first, that what the Bible says, because all his family are knowledgeable about the Word of God. They just are not firm believers in the Word of God, walking the walk and talking the talk. My question is, I'm on a thin line with him, and he wants the marriage. I no longer am invested emotionally, physically, mentally. But because of my Christianity, the way I was brought up, once you're married, stick to that man for life.
Uh-huh.
You follow the godly thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really having a big battle on my spirituality versus separating the part of the marriage part. How much abuse does one take? And I've set boundaries with him.
Yeah, well, Libby, let me jump in here because
I have a few questions.
I'm stuck on something else, man.
Yeah.
You have a few riddle me thises, okay? So riddle me this: that you married him while he was incarcerated, or how did you meet?
I met him through his mother. Through his mother, we both worked with the government.
Okay.
And
he was incarcerated
you
when
met
you met
him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because this is a new one for me. I'll be honest. This is,
Okay,
right?
it happens, but it's interesting because this isn't someone who will be out that you can be with, and even the time that sometimes people can get in prison to have time together, often it's very limited. So you're physically...
It also raises the question of what does it look like? Because your question of how do I want him to make me a priority.
Yeah, how does he do that?
What does that look like when someone is incarcerated to make their spouse a priority? I'm curious how you would define that.
Well, it could happen. In the prison system, it could happen. But if a mother...
It could, but what would it look like is what I'm asking, Libby.
What would it look like to me? Well, putting me priority, meaning, in other words, that when his family members would come up and I would come up, that he doesn't kick me to the curb, as they say, He prioritizes me.
You mean during visitations?
Yes, during visitations, he has, to tell him, I come first, not your family no more. It's not about your family. It's about you and me.
Does the family visit regularly, like every weekend?
No. What she does is stop him. His mother stops him, and then, just example, this last 2 weeks, I went up and I said, okay, God, you take in charge of this visit. I didn't know she was going to be there because he lies to me and tells me she avoids me because...
Hey, Libby, Libby, can I just jump in and ask another question?
I am so hard to display.
Yeah, I know. I'm so curious about something else. What led to his life imprisonment? Like, how did he end up in his situation?
He landed, what I later on discovered, he landed up in there because he was at a party in his young age. He was at a party, and the party broke out with some young kids in a group. And what happened is that a gun went off, and his friend had threw him a gun because somebody had hit him in the back of his head. So he did felony menacing, which is, where you're waving a gun and you don't intentionally want to kill somebody or harm somebody, but his friend had threw him a gun, and he was somewhat incoherent behind the blow in the back of his head because he stepped in to defend
okay,
so
Libby, we're gonna run out of time, but what's the charge that he's in there for? Okay, so because a life imprisonment is not easy to get, right?
Right.
And do you believe his story? And do you believe his story?
Yes, I do, because I've read the transcripts and everything, and there was a lot of legality.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
And the legal system is very imperfect, and it's all about what they can make it look like at times.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But it still means that a person was maybe there at the wrong time.
Yes.
Right?
Placed in the wrong time.
Yes. That,
they didn't even know him.
That is true.
Right.
But in prison, the rules of life that they have to live by are like the opposite of what the rest of us live by out on the outside.
That's correct.
Right? And so,
that's correct.
So they have to do things, and so lying's probably the least of those things.
Yes.
That they do as part of their survival. So, but I hear what you're saying in terms of family dynamics. There's kind of this battle of who's number one female. And for you've signed up for this man who's lifetime imprisonment. The best you can hope for is having some visitation. And the mom is stepping in the way of that. And so, I mean, it seems like on a real practical level, it should be like discussed and scheduled. Let's not show up at the same time.
Exactly. And I've worked at that, but also behind the scene, there's so much dysfunctionality on his side of the family.
Sure.
And she's married. She's married, but she sees my husband as her surrogate husband because she doesn't want to deal with the fact of her own marriage and her own.
Okay, and that's not something you can really control.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand
you're not going to
that
solve
logistics.
that. Yeah.
Right. And I've worked with him on that, and I says, you and your mother, the kind of relationship you have is unhealthy.
Yes.
Yes. You guys.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, sir.
Libby,
Yes, sir.
since we're coming up on the break, I have a quick question for you.
Oh.
While we're on the break, I want you to think about this. Okay, so when you have because you've had many conversations with your husband about this, when you've had the conversations with him, what's his response been? Is he agreeable with you? Yes, I agree, that's what we need to do, but doesn't follow through? Or is he resistant, saying, no, what you're suggesting isn't right, I need to do it the way that I'm doing it? Think through what the answer to that question is when we come back from the break.
Yes, thank you for that, and we'll be back with Libby right after this.
About 4 years ago is when I discovered my husband's addiction. I heard about New Life. It has been life-changing for me and for my husband both. It was direction when we were lost, and it was hope when we had none. The help that we received from New Life has been multifaceted. My husband did the Every Man's Battle workshop. We did the marriage weekend. We are avid listeners of the radio and TV programs, and I think those are awesome, wonderful resources. And, I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To make your tax-deductible gift, visit newlife.com and click Donate. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. That's NLM to 28950.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live, and we would love to speak with you. It's going to be myself, Dr. Jill Hubbard, JJ West. We're going to be in studio for 2 programs today. If you have something that you are struggling with, please give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We have some open lines, and again, we would love to talk to you. Right now, we are talking to Libby, and JJ, you had some really good, poignant questions for Libby. So JJ, yeah, let's follow through with that.
Yeah, so Libby, hopefully you had a chance to think about over the break. I'm just curious, when you've had these conversations with your husband, which I'm sure you've had many times, what's been his response to you? Is he agreeable and doesn't follow through, or is he resistant, saying no, we need to do it a different way?
No, actually, he's when we get to talking and we get to threats, that's when he's like, okay, it's the threats according to him, not to me. He says yes, he's in agreement with it, and he has been in counseling on his own. Being incarcerated, he has been in counseling. He's aware of the unhealthy relationship that him and his mother carry, and the pull that she has on him with manipulation and making him the advocate for his own family, and he says, I understand I can't do nothing for my family, and I understand that I fail you in that. And I said, yeah, and I understand that as well, but let's work together as a couple to help this marriage grow and to have a connection. And the way we can have that connection is through communication, writing, phone calls, visits. But if you're going to prioritize your mom over me, then it's not going to work, because you and her have this.
Yeah. So
she's making you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So he does follow through. But it's non-consistent.
Right.
And
he feels trapped.
When his mother's gave.
Yeah, and Libby,
he goes back to his old behavior. What?
When you're in prison for life, you have very few connections on the outside that stay with you, and so probably he's walking that line of he doesn't want to alienate either one of you. He needs his mom, right? Because resources, putting money on the books, you guys are his people and his connection to the outside world. So, and probably his mom and you are the two most important females in his life. So, sounds like he tells you somewhat what you want to hear, or he agrees with you in that moment, but also is trying to kind of play both sides.
And,
thank you.
Yes, and but Libby, I want you to look at something really, really important for yourself.
Yes.
Yes, sir. That's what I need.
Expectations. There seems to be disconnection to some reality here. I know that might be hard to hear, but yes. You married a man who's incarcerated.
Amen.
Marriage is primarily two things: building lifelong companionship and a common vision for life, a common life together. And you've chosen someone who is fundamentally, based on life circumstances, limited in one and unavailable in the other.
Yeah. Jeez. Thank you for that confirmation.
Yes. So you've put yourself in a position in this relationship where your husband really is limited, and as Jill was saying, he's trying his best. It sounds like to get healthier, to stay in relationship with both his wife and his mom, but feeling the conflict, but not being able to have. You guys can't have a dining room table experience around this. So there is these expectations that I believe that you're carrying into this relationship that don't match the reality of the circumstance.
You got that right. And that's one of the things I've dealt with, and I've shared that with him. I said, you know what, we each come from a different cloth. And, I have my areas and you have your areas. And my expectations, because I was raised, it's too long of a story.
But let me come back to this, because I think that there is so much in your backstory, so much from your history. I would love for you to get into some counseling and start exploring, why am I choosing a person to commit my life to, who, not because he's bad or a bad choice, but because he's fundamentally unavailable, also doesn't share my faith. There's so many primary decisions here.
And you're a lifelong Christian too.
Yeah.
So that alone is a question that I would have, that you've saddled yourself with a non-Christian and somebody unavailable.
Yeah. So Libby, here's what I would say. I say, let's not get divorced yet, because there's some things we need to figure out. And I think you follow his lead, get into your own therapy, and that you start working on, what are my expectations? How did I get myself to this position? And what that can provide you is more clarity in the decision going forward. beyond just, as a Christian, do I stay married or do I divorce, but how did I actually get here? Because that wisdom, I think, will help you a lot. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love that shows some of these relational patterns that will really help kind of get a hold on really what's going on underneath the surface. Libby, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll be back right after this.
I'm addicted to oxycodone. I've been on oxycodone almost 3 years.
Addiction affects millions of people every year.
I've been on it for a long time, and I need to get off.
New Life can connect you with some of the finest Christian inpatient treatment programs in the country that work with people from all backgrounds and beliefs.
First it was for back pain, and I was on it for a long time. And then I currently just had shoulder surgery.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction to illegal or prescription drugs, alcohol, or dealing with an eating disorder, it's time to seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers all around the country.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career or possibly strengthening your relationships or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been screened and certified with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability, ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're with us. As you heard, we'd love to talk to you. We have some lines open. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. JJ, real quickly here. Tell us about Every Man's Battle.
Yeah, we have the Every Man's Battle online intensive this weekend. And boy, this is the easiest way to get to an Every Man's Battle intensive. You don't have to travel. You don't have to worry about a hotel. You don't have to worry about sharing a room with somebody. This is the easiest way to do it. So any objections that you might have, and it costs a lot less to do it this way.
Yeah.
But it's so important to be at the workshop because that's where you, not only do you get the information, but you experience the workshop with other men, good, safe men, who understand because they are right where you are. So there's nobody's throwing stones at you. No one's, poking a finger in your chest, telling you what a terrible person you are. It's a safe place to examine what got you where you are in the brokenness of your life, but also a safe place to look at what are the choices I can make for a different future, a different marriage, a different family life, a different way of being myself.
Yeah.
And we just month after month, we see men get set free from lifelong struggle with addiction. And so if you're out there thinking, boy, it would be nice to be different. I've tried and I've failed and I've tried and I've failed. Can I just implore you, sign up. It's not too late. Get to the workshop. Experience that transformation.
Day.
Yes.
And it's one
just
day.
one day
Yes.
of your life.
This is the lowest barrier of entry that you will find.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a very full day, but it's one day.
That's one day.
Absolutely. You can go to newlife.com/EMB. Again, that's newlife.com/EMB. Sign up this weekend, one day online. and start that journey to freedom and fulfillment on the other side of some of our sexual brokenness. So, JJ, I again thank you so much for what you do and the team around you for that workshop and the amazing work that happens there. We're going to go to Sandra listening in Middleton, Idaho on KBXL. Sandra, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi. Fine, thank you.
Well, tell us what's going on.
Well, my question is how to move forward with information received by my parents that my father or my dad that raised me is not my biological father. And I found this out at about 48 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 63, and I've been working with it, or trying. I did find my biological father, but he had passed away the same year they told me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm just, I've tried, talking with my mom, but I don't get a lot of information. It's more like they don't want to talk about it.
Sandra, how has this information done two things? How has it impacted you, and how has it impacted your relationship with the people who raised you?
With me, I feel, what's the word? Deceived.
Yep. Betrayal would make perfect sense.
Yes. I, as a child, I felt I was different from the rest of the family. What was the second question? I'm sorry.
How has it impacted your relationship with the people who raised you?
With your
raised
parents.
you? Yeah, with your parents.
Yeah, with my parents. We still have, a normal, I guess as normal as it can be, relationship. When this all came about, though, my father, I think, it's kind of strange, but he has dementia now. And he is in a memory care facility, and I think this all came about with his pre-onset.
Yeah. So there's a lot of complications in this process, right? Well,
yes, because he that you go back in time when you are dealing with dementia, and I think it surfaced again because he knew of the affair my mom had.
Yeah, so he has his own thoughts and feelings and process and betrayal that's going on.
So so what you're saying is your birth came about from your mother's affair.
Yes.
And she was already married to your father?
Yes. So my parents were married very young, 15 and 17. They're still married 65 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And my mother at 20 had an affair. My father knew about it. They decided to move forward.
Yeah.
And I came, but I think it was at the time, they didn't know how to contact this person
let me, Sandra, so we can help you. Let me do this, because I know that JJ works a lot in issues of betrayal. And so, JJ, I want to hear your thoughts. What does Sandra do with this big information and these relationships right now?
Yeah, and Sandra, let me first start by saying I'm so sorry that your world got rocked by this information. I just can't imagine how disorienting it would be. I am curious, one, why did they decide to tell you at 48? That's a strange age to let this information out. And what did they say was their reason for why they didn't tell you earlier?
Okay. My mother's answer to that was they didn't know. There was no DNA. They didn't have cell phones. They couldn't contact him. So they didn't know. and I always kind of gave them benefit of the doubt. They were very young and uneducated, so I just kind of chalked it up to that, I guess. So then, as far as how it came about was, again, as I was saying, I think it was the things that my father was going through as the pre-onset, and he then was having difficulty and brought up the past, believed that my brother and I were not his children, so we all did DNA testing, thinking, oh, this is ridiculous, right? But I came back that
you did
I
the DNA
was
testing
not his.
to absolve his anxiety, and it turns out to have created anxiety for you.
And my brother was his, and I was not.
Yeah.
And
so Sandra, let us jump in because we're going to run out of time to help you, okay?
So Sandra, everybody kind of lived a lifetime in the unknown. It's almost like they didn't want to know even when they could, until your dad could no longer live with it. It sounds like. So then so as soon as they knew for sure, right? I mean, or you guys all together, the information came out. Nonetheless, highly shocking, right? Yeah. But explains a lot, right? It explains a lot in terms of you feeling different.
Yeah.
And would have made a difference early on.
So anytime there's a situation of betrayal, there's a lot of steps that need to be taken in order for there to be a repair. Right? There's been this rift in the relationship. Your ability to trust your parents, your connection with them has been impacted by this deception, even though they had their justification for why they didn't tell you earlier. Okay, and there's some logic to that. It still has this impact where it's hurt your heart that you didn't have this information. It's changed your view of the relationship. And so there needs to be repair made. Sometimes that's as simple as an acknowledgement and an apology. I recognize that my not telling you the truth about this for so many years hurts you, and I'm sorry that happened. So it may be that you make a request like that, hey, I'm hurting and I need you to understand. I need you to express that empathy and that understanding. It may go so far as to say, we recognize that we prevented you from having any relationship with him because you didn't know until after he died or the year that he died. And that may be part of the amends as well. Go ahead.
And that has been done.
Okay.
Okay.
But I can't go any further with my father that I felt.
Yes. So
I could have.
So Sandra, let me jump in. I'm sorry to do this. I hate to jump in, but we're going to head to a break here really quickly. But yeah, we're going to give you some steps. A couple of steps to take once we get back from the break. But yes, these betrayal traumas in this way with families are really, really complicated, really hard. And Sandra, we thank you for calling in with this. We'll be back right after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're with us. We are going to do this show. We have another program right after this. We'd love to talk to you. There's some lines open. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. Again, that's 1-800-229-3000. We'd love to talk to you. And we are talking to Sandra and JJ. You have a couple things to give Sandra some direction moving forward. What are those?
Yeah, so I'm glad that there's already been an apology offered and amends trying to be worked on. I would say, Sandra, for you, I want you to be working on forgiveness. What does it mean to forgive? Understanding that forgiveness is not going to take away all of the pain, all of the hurt, all of the anger, but it's a way to set you free because that's a bondage that you're living in. And then second, and really kind of goes hand in hand with forgiveness, is for you to grieve. There's some significant grieving that needs to be done because there was a vision of your life that you thought was true and that got killed. And so you need to grieve the loss of that.
Yeah, that's really good. Sandra, we're going to send you a copy of the book Trust by Henry Cloud. And what I love about that book is it really helps us dive deep into what makes trust so powerful and so essential for relationships, but what are its actual ingredients? So I believe that that's going to help you move forward. And I just want to point out, Sandra, emotional freedom workshop would be a great way to get in and start processing all of those question marks that are lingering inside of you that create a lot of pain and confusion. So again, check out our emotional freedom workshop. With that, we're going to go to Sandy, listening in Portland, Oregon on Sirius XM. Sandy, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the show and tell us.
I'm here too.
Yeah, tell us what's going on. How can we help you?
Okay, well, I've been just praying as I was holding that I could give you the Cliff Notes because it's kind of a complicated situation, but my son's getting married this weekend, and he is marrying someone that he's 23, and he's never lived in the same town as the person he's marrying. They met at a Christian camp while working summers in college and have kept the long-distance relationship going. So in his premarital counseling, he uncovered the fact that he was basically raised in a very unloving family, which was a very big gut punch, but I think there's a little bit of comparing our family to fiance's family, and I think it started with my husband and I telling him that we thought maybe he should wait a little bit and maybe live in the same town, and I think he read that as we didn't like her and don't accept her, and so I'm hoping for a little bit of quick therapy to tee me up for a positive weekend this weekend. Or I don't know if that's even possible. I just want to kind of get y'all's thoughts on all of this, because it's kind of a sad situation, and
yeah,
I'm a little bit disheartened going into everything.
Sandy, well, that really hurts, and he's joining with this woman, and often there's that, even prior to marriage, there's that honeymoon period, right? And an idealizing of what's new. And so an idealizing of her family. And sad for you. And so in going into this wedding, you know the things that you have done for him, and it's important that you go and you hold your head high, and that you have your support people there. Right? This isn't, this isn't the time to hash through anything. But to be supportive and embrace her as best you can, because long term, you must forge a relationship with her. And even, maybe exaggerate a little bit your acceptance and care for her, so that down the road you can hash through some of these and have the conversation at the back end.
Okay.
When he's more open to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So give it time. But hold
Give
my
it time.
head high.
Make this weekend be about celebrating this new marriage, right? We're celebrating your son. We're celebrating your new daughter-in-law. We're celebrating their choice to commit their lives together, right? That's what this weekend is about. It's about celebration and acceptance. There'll be time later to have those more challenging, difficult conversations, but you're not going to have the opportunity to have some of those more challenging, difficult conversations if you don't show by your action, by your presence this weekend, that we're celebrating with you because we love you. And when those conversations can happen, right, later on, I think it's really important for you to be able to communicate, hey, if the way in which I communicated it was incorrect, what I want you to know is that your dad and I love you very much, and we want what's best for you and your new bride. We might have had an idea that, hey, it would be better to live in the same town together before you get married for some time, but that doesn't mean that it has to happen, or that's communicating that we don't like her or we don't like your choice.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there may be a place, I'm sorry, Chris. There may be a place where you need to just humbly acknowledge, hey, there were some places where we let you down. There were some places where we didn't love you well. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And humbly accept, own the stuff that you need to own. You don't need to own the stuff that you didn't do, but own the stuff that you did, or the stuff that you failed to do. If you can humbly do that, it opens the door for future communication and future healing.
And it also, when he can tell you the things that he doesn't like, it opens his heart for the love to come back in towards you.
That's right.
Right? Because you didn't get defensive. You owned your part, even if it was the small part that he was hyper-focused on.
Well,
right.
And we all have a little bit of revisionist history going on inside of us, right? Especially when you put love and romance into the picture, and you put a marriage into the picture, and we're trying to find the story of our past that fits our present. And sometimes the facts kind of fall to the wayside around those situations. So to encourage that along is try right now not to take it as personal, but do take it seriously, as Jill and JJ were saying, to come back to the conversations around it, because owning your part and investing and celebrating them really shows that, hey, your recollection of our home life, though we don't want to dismiss it, may not be as accurate as what you're sharing in premarital counseling.
Wait till they start living together.
Yes, right,
and
exactly.
he starts realizing, wow, you're different than me. Everything I liked now bugs me. So, right?
And there is just this thing that us parents have. We have a story in our minds of how our kids are going to turn out. And there is, so it's this idealized version.
They don't,
right?
They do not turn out the way.
Yes, there is this idealized version, and then there is a real version, and there's always a gap in between those two things. And a lot of times there is fear, and there's disappointment, and there is heartbreak. But I always say, in the gap between the ideal and the real, let's insert grace and see what happens.
And a wedding weekend is skewed in terms of it's all about them, right? So the celebrating, and embrace in-laws too. Get to know them. Connect with them if you haven't already.
So, and just to echo what JJ said, go into this weekend making what you want to make of it, with the intended purpose of celebrating them. So,
yeah, and you and your husband can talk behind the scenes.
Yes, absolutely. Go back to your room and
dissect it all.
Dissect it all. So, Sandy, thank you so much for calling in. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back. Thank you all for being with us. We're going to be here for another program. So, if you're listening, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. And thank you for being with us. And have a great day. Be well. Until next time. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.